Hey, hi guys, it's your favorite host once again, Chukwuedo from AfributionTV. If you're a new subscriber, first time viewer, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're a returning subscriber, you already know the gist. You guys are the MVP. And of course, my special greeting, as I always do on this channel. So if you be new subscriber or viewer, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh yeah, take it. And then if you are a returning subscriber, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Take it there. Take it. Take your own. Okay. So on today's episode, I'll be talking about a very important topic, especially amongst Africans, both back in Africa and then Africans in the diaspora. I'm just going to cut straight to it. So, the topic is this. It's actually a question that says, is tech only for people with science and technical background? Because this is something that I think is very important, especially for Africans who are thinking to, relocate abroad to look for better opportunities, as we call it, or if you're an African in the diaspora who currently you're living in the diaspora and for any reason you're thinking to transition into tech, but you have that doubt like, oh, I don't have like a technical background, I don't have a science background, is tech for me? How do I go about it? Especially in the case that we understand a lot of Africans who do not have like these very high end skills, like in demand skills, settle for jobs that we know these areas, customer care, sometimes even menial jobs and things like that. Because look, let's be frank, a lot of people have degrees that do not necessarily translate into any like practical skill. We know that it's like Nigerian universities are awash with such kind of degrees. As a matter of fact, I just don't want to generate any kind of controversy, but we know this kind of degrees. Degrees that naturally would thrive in European countries, in America, Australia, but because of the way that our curriculum is actually structured, I don't even think this is limited to Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, obviously, but I think even in other African countries, we also find these very predominant. So yes, so today's topic, as I mentioned, is tech only for people with the science and technical background. So the simple answer is this: no. This is the very simple answer. And I'm going to, in the course of this video, I'm going to make use of myself as a case study. I graduated from a arts and humanities background, attended Lagos State University, studied Portuguese and English. So naturally I was trained to be like, to some extent, a linguist, a translator, an interpreter of some sorts. That's a conversation for another day, because interpretation needs practice. But basically translation, being a linguist, areas that typically would require, how do I call it? Would require the usage of, two languages, especially English and then Portuguese. And frankly speaking, not many people were able to basically make something out of it. I have to be very honest. So what I mean is, even if I studied Portuguese and English, it's not a science course, obviously. It's actually not in a very high demand. But I was able to make something out of it. Maybe in another episode, I'm going to dive deep about how I was able to navigate and stuff like that. But keeping track on the topic for today, is tech only for people with science and technological background? Because this is a very big deal, because the perception out there is that, oh, you need to be somebody who did, let's say, computer science, maybe computer engineering, or you did maybe something relating to sciences. We understand these kind of stereotypes. However, recent data and statistics have shown that, as a matter of fact, There are so many people in tech, programming, um, DevOps, cloud computing, um, you know, you can name it. IT administrators, cybersecurity guys, network engineers, etc., etc. Okay, me personally, my likeness for tech started sometime in 2008, I think. But before that, I have to mention that a lot of us, especially for those who grew up in Surulere or even Lagos, generally, you remember, as Nigerians, if you pay attention to crowded places, like for example, if you live around Surulere, if you know Lawansin, Oju Elegba, Yaba, Coste, Underbridge, Lagos Island, these are places where you have a lot of movement and activities. Even as a young boy growing up, we used to see a lot of those flyers and posters. Oh, learn desktop publishing, learn CorelDRAW, learn Photoshop, learn AutoCAD, learn Sage, learn QuickBooks, learn computer networking, get CCNA certified, CCIE certified, learn project management. And you see, we used to see these things, but we were not informed in terms of the importance of these courses, to future opportunities. I wished we had people who actually, educated us on how important these courses were. Some people took advantage of it, and I promise you, a lot of those people are the people who today they are actually living fat based on the decisions that they actually took many years ago. So me, for example, I attended a private school. I don't know if I should. Okay, I'm gonna call this school anyway. I don't mind giving my school some publicity. So I attended Majors International College. Of course, started from Majors International Nursery and Primary School, Alvis. So I remember in secondary school, I think I was in my JSS1 or JSS2, many years ago. And then there was this institute that came to my secondary school or my high school. It depends on where you're watching from. So secondary school is like high school. So there was this institute that came to my high school. They called them NIIT. So basically, this was an institute that, was running like a training center where they taught tech courses, different from, different courses covering various areas, whether it's UI, UX, desktop publishing, like design, AutoCAD, networking. I remember vividly. They came with flyers and they came to educators. This was after the assembly ground. The assembly ground is that period in the morning where they give like announcements and things like that before we eventually start the day. So NIIT came, and a lot of us were just there, making fun, laughing and stuff like that. Look, this wasn't our fault, we were just very, very ignorant. We didn't know that what we were seeing in front of us was a golden opportunity that was going to basically, have an impact, in our lives if we are taking advantage of it. And the thing is, these guys came and they were giving a very, very heavy discount. I can't remember, maybe like 50% discount or something like that, because it was like, okay, they were trying to, get like a partnership with the school, if I'm not mistaken. And because it was a secondary school, they just wanted to like encourage, the young minds to actually enroll in the courses. And it was a very, very heavy slash. Now, guess what? Because we didn't even know about the importance of the course, most of us did not even tell our parents. Me, for example, I was given the form, but I did not even mention it to my parents because I wasn't interested. What the hell were they talking about in the first place? Oh, you can learn networking and stuff like that. I was not interested, frankly speaking. So, many years later, my sister went to learn desktop publishing, as a matter of fact. Yes, desktop publishing. So my immediate elder sister, she went to learn desktop publishing. Okay, before that, one of my elder brothers, he went to learn CorelDRAW, I think design. Yes, he went to learn design. So he did that, I think, from Inokris. Inokris was a very, very popular computer school, a training institute around the Jewel Egba, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me right. So he did that, and then he learned how to design, wedding invitations, flyers, etc., etc. But even at that, the consciousness had not actually come, for me. So it was not until like 2000 and this should be like 2008 thereabout, after my sister went to learn desktop publishing from a free course that was organized by a church called Falawiya Bankole Methodist Church in Surulere, yes. So Falawiya Bankole Methodist Church. So it was a free course that was organized. So she went there alongside some other people. Of course, my friend Donatus was also one of those people. Until today, the guy, he's actually basically living off that singular skill that he actually learned at that time. So my sister learned that, and then in order for her to practice, she had to buy a computer at home. This was my first curiosity. So she bought a computer at home, and then over time the computer developed faults, I think virus and stuff like that. You put it on, it was having issues. And I remember vividly, it was very difficult because the first time we called an engineer, he came, he fixed it, but it developed fault again. So at the second time, my brother called his friend. I'm just gonna call his name. His name is Aderoju. So he had learned, I think, design as well, but he had some idea about how to fix computers, the basic stuff, computer engineering, formatting your computer, do like a fresh install of the operating system. So Aderoju came and he helped us, he helped us fix the computer. So my curiosity was very, very high at that time, because I was like, okay, how is this guy able to fix his computer? How come he put in a CD, and then for some reason we had to wait for 2 hours or 3 hours, because I'm talking Windows XP, very, very long time ago. And this computer that I'm talking about, it was like a proper desktop at home. I can't remember, maybe Pentium 2 or Pentium 3, I can't recall, but it was a very old computer with a big cathode ray monitor. So he fixed the computer, and that day was the day I took the decision to say, look, I am going to learn about this wonder called the computer, because I wanted to be able to fix that computer whenever it had issues. So lucky me, I was able to land the job with my ex-boss, rest in power, Adeyinka Yorin, the Next Level Technologies, for those who know me. So I was able to land the job at the cyber cafe, the business establishment called Next Level Technologies. So from there, I started learning how to fix computers. So I was able to do disassembly. So like every day, I was having this constant contacts with computers, and I was seeing different kind of faults, diagnosing them, fixing them, etc., etc. So long and short, the whole interest, became a passion, and then I was able to learn computer repairs. I was offering these services to customers, and then I was also able to learn about networking, basically how to connect, various computers together, where they can share resources. For example, they can share the scanner, they can share the printer, stuff like that. How to convert one of the main computers to be the server for the rest of the computer. I learned these things, and then of course how to crimp cables. I'm talking at that time the most popular cables were Cat5. Yes, I think it was Cat5, and then later Cat5e. So using the crimping tool to actually crimp the cables, and then put the RJ45 connectors. Anybody who is into networking, they understand what I'm talking about. I was able to do these things, so I was super excited. And of course, I bought my first laptop, and obviously, somehow we were able to phase out the big computer at home. So, got into the university, and I can tell you this skill actually sustained me throughout the university. So what am I saying? I studied arts. From secondary school, I was in the arts class, doing English, literature, nothing about technology. And then gradually, the interest was pricked by this guy who came to help us fix the computer at home. And then I started pushing, and then I landed the opportunity to work in the cyber cafe, where I basically improved on these skills, because I was having like this daily contact with computers. So I was able to make a lot of mistakes, and I was able to learn. Now, let's bring this fast forward into recent times. So in 2000 and I think 12 or thereabouts, I wanted to learn computer networking like proper. I wanted to learn computer networking proper. So I contacted the school. I'm going to give them a little bit of publicity, called New Horizon. So they sent me the courses and then the price. But I was in my second year or my third year. So the timetable was not feasible for me. It was not, it was not something that was workable. So what happened? I was not able to attend the course, but what I did was I started downloading a lot of ebooks. At this time, internet wasn't, that fantastic in Nigeria, sincerely. So I started downloading a lot of ebooks and a lot of videos from YouTube. So what I'm trying to say here is this: YouTube is a very, very good resource for anybody who's thinking to transition into tech. It doesn't matter your background. Then I started downloading ebooks, and then I was doing a lot of reading. These actually helped me. And during my NYC, I actually did a course in computer networking with a guy who came to the camp to actually advertise, and I saw that he was really good. And we actually did like a full installation in a school. I can't remember. It was like a missionary school somewhere in Anambra State, I think in Oka. So I went there, and then we did like a full installation, did the crimping of the cables, stuff like that, set up all the whole computers, connected everything with the printer, with the scanner, So these were the experiences that I was actually gathering. But it was because I was genuinely interested. So I think the first thing is interest. Then the second thing is to try to get like hands-on experience, okay? This is most important for people who are thinking to jackpot, as we popularly say it in Nigeria. So if you're an African, whether you're Nigerian, you're Ghanaian, you're Ethiopian, you're Tanzanian, you're Rwandese, and you're thinking to leave your country to go to another country, it is very, very important to learn some of these tech skills. So in a while, I'm going to mention some of these skills that I think are absolutely important before you actually make that move. And if you have made the move, you're thinking to transition, you can also, start from this particular place. Because I'm using myself as an example because I did not have any science or technical background. It was purely arts. I was doing literature, I was doing English, I was doing government, history. So I wasn't doing physics, chemistry, and the others, no. And of course, mathematics is compulsory in Nigeria, but it wasn't so much my forte. It wasn't so much my strength. I was more of the expressive person. So that said, fast forward, I came to Europe in 2018 to actually do my master's in linguistics. So pay attention. Humanities, linguistics, not sciences. So at that time, I was doing my master's, but I knew that if I had to get to a place where I wanted to build a career in tech, then it was very, very important for me to decide what area of tech I was going to dive into. So this is where it gets interesting. So I'm going to give you these tips that I think are no-brainers if you want to make this move, especially if you don't have any technical or science background. So the first thing is this: you have to look for an area that can let you get into tech within the shortest possible period. Now, if you had like a science background or a technical background, I can understand. You can go for areas like programming, whether front end or back end. So front end are the guys who deal with that's like the visual part of the website. That particular thing you see when you type www or something. And the back end guys are the ones who deal with like things like functionality, etc., etc. Areas like these are highly technical because they require coding. You need to learn a couple of languages, HTML. I think HTML, CSS, JavaScript are like these are like the foundation for front end. Then of course React, Angular, back end, Python, and then some other languages like that you actually need to. SQL obviously, in order for you to communicate with the database. And so there are other areas like, let's say, DevOps, which is like, a part of cloud computing. this is also very, 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 very technical. You know, it's very, very technical. And then you also have, like, let's say QA and automation, technical as well. You know, look, the idea is this: if you know you are from the humanities background, or you know that the technical stuffs are actually not your is not your strength, what I'm trying to make you understand today is that there is something in tech for everybody. If you're crazy enough to want to venture into tech, there is something in tech for everybody. However, it is important for you to be sincere with yourself from the beginning. So this said, what are the possible skills that you need to get in order for you to say, okay, I think I'm taking my first step. First things first, that I think you cannot run from, is to learn Microsoft Excel. I remember then when we used to see the flyers everywhere, come and learn Microsoft Excel. We didn't know what it was. You know, I didn't understand how powerful Microsoft Excel was, because I had the opportunity to learn it maybe 2 or 3 times in my life, but I didn't see the importance. Even when I went to work in a cyber cafe, I was doing more of the hands-on, the fixing stuffs, but I did not know how powerful Microsoft Excel was. So Microsoft Excel, no-brainer. Microsoft Excel, no-brainer. And just a little tip, I think what is overwhelming about Microsoft Excel is the fact that people try to learn the functions, you know, individually, and I think this is where they get a lot of problems. What do I mean by that? Instead of learning if function, count function, VLOOKUP function, etc., individually, just understand that, look, Microsoft Excel is made up of different categories. Let's say, for example, you have statistical function. It means that these functions would be used to perform, you know, statistical analysis. You have, let's say, financial function. You have a logical function, like if, you know, sum if, etc., etc. So once you understand that, look, these are the building blocks of Excel, then it is now easy when they say, okay, sum if function, then you know, okay, it is under logical. You know, when they say, let's say, average, median, you know, okay, this is under statistical. Then they have mathematical function, add, subtract, division. So I think, I don't know how much this tip is going to help you, but do not look at the functions in isolation. Understand that the functions are part of a bigger building block of Excel, and I think that way it's going to be a little bit, you know, more demystified to you. So Microsoft Excel is the absolute skill. I think anybody at all, it doesn't matter what area of technology you want to transition into, you always need to do some documentation. You always need to do some, you know, calculation here and there. You always need to prepare some kind of reports, and the Microsoft Excel is your go-to tool. So this is the first thing. Then, of course, the other thing in Microsoft Excel is that, one, analysis, you know, like doing the whole subtraction, division, preparing the data and stuff like that. Then the other one will be visualization. Look, even if it's not advanced visualization, it's always important you have a basic idea of how to, for example, prepare a pie chart, you know, a bar chart, you know, histogram, etc., etc. These things are very, very important. And then you need to learn how to make pivot tables, you know, and pivot charts, you know, because of course, that way it is always easier for you to, you know, play around with your data a little bit, you know. So learn Excel, understand the different categories of functions, then learn a little bit of visualization. It doesn't have to be advanced, you know. Then learn how to use pivot chart and pivot tables. I think once you have these 3 things, frankly speaking, you have no idea the amount of jobs that you can actually get. Just with this, if you just learn only Microsoft Excel, I'm telling you, it cost me a lot to learn Microsoft Excel. I had to pay an Indian guy online who actually taught me Microsoft Excel, although I learned it within 2.5 months, but I could have learned it way, way back, 2006, 2005. But I had to come to Europe and eventually had to pay somebody really heavy to learn Microsoft Excel. Now, what are the other possible paths in tech that you can take if you're somebody from, you know, a not so technical or science background? Another area is digital marketing. So, again, personal experience. I learned Microsoft Excel first, and then I learned digital marketing in 2021, all for free. I used Simply Learn to actually do like a whole, I think it was like it was actually like a series of courses. in digital marketing that covered from SEO, search engine optimization, to SEM, search engine marketing, and then to paid search, you Google, Meta, etc., etc., and then of course to email marketing, and then to affiliate marketing. It covered social media marketing. It covered the whole spectrum of digital marketing. However, do not make the mistake of thinking you can be a jack of all trades. Can you? Yes, but remember, we are trying to get you into the market within the shortest time possible. So try to see what is your strength. Is it social media marketing? Focus on that. Is it SEO? Focus on that. Is it SEM? Focus on that. Is it email marketing? Is it affiliate marketing? For me, it was paid search. It was paid search. So the idea of paid search is basically you have your website, it's a business, and SEO takes a longer time because it's more organic. So you have to do a lot of optimizations for you to rank. Now, paid search is you do your website, it's live, and we are getting you straight, in front of your potential target audience, whether it's an e-commerce, whether it's a lead generation business, whether it's traffic you're looking for. So after doing the free course in digital marketing, it took me about another 1 year and 6 months before I landed my first opportunity with Google Ads in Google. So what were the most important, learning points for me? I already knew Microsoft Excel, because there is an aspect of digital marketing that is called web analytics or digital marketing analytics. What is the idea? You use data, you use previous data to actually see trends, insights that can help you optimize your campaigns better. So if I didn't know Microsoft Excel, then how would I even know how to do this analysis? How would I know how to read the data? How would I know how to make sense out of the data? Do you see? So it really doesn't matter so much what area you want to go into in technology. It's absolutely important to have an idea of Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. It's almost the same thing. Because look, let's imagine for whatever reason that, okay, you decide to go into, let's say, you're into finance. You are actually going to need Microsoft Excel because you are going to do some financial analysis, So we have jobs like financial analyst, we have jobs like business analyst. If let's say you're into insurance or actuary, you can do like actuary analyst. So in my case, apart from the fact that I can work as a performance person, a performance expert, a performance specialist, I can also work in the area of web analytics, which means my job could just be processing data, getting insights, and then communicating this in order for campaigns to be better optimized. So again, I'm from humanities, but I was learning those very key skills and key tools that I was going to need to thrive. Because it's always important that even if, for example, you want to do data analysis, which is very, very possible, even if you're not from the science background, it gives you an edge if you're from science or management background, but you can also do that from a humanities or a non-science or technology background. What do I mean by that? If you can learn Microsoft Excel first, and you really want to do data analysis, you can learn SQL, because you need that to actually process larger data, because there is a limit to the data that Microsoft Excel can process. So this is where SQL comes in, and then you can use that to basically play with the data in real time, and it's way, way faster. I learned a little bit of SQL, but I'm not using it that much, but this is also a very, very good skill to actually learn. Then you can learn one of the BI tools, which can be Tableau, it can be Power BI. It just depends on what industry you're going into and what the company, the potential company actually prefers, But these are key skills that you can learn and key tools. So Microsoft Excel, just by learning Microsoft Excel alone, you can do a lot of jobs like administrative assistants, executive assistants, etc., etc. You can process data for small companies. You can do a little bit of visualization here and there. But if you want to do high-end visualization, you need to learn Power BI or Tableau. So we've spoken about, you can be a digital marketer. You can be somebody who knows Excel, and you can actually get jobs with that. You can also do, for example, data analysis. Then I think another skill that I think one actually needs to learn is soft skill. This is absolutely important, because it's not enough for you to know the technical stuffs. You also need to learn soft skills. What I mean by that is, you know, negotiation, negotiation skills, conflict resolution skills, because I think sometimes these things are highly overlooked. And remember, if you're from the humanities background, it is assumed or taken for granted that you're actually good in these things, because we are the more expressive discipline, So negotiation skills, conflict resolution skills, etc., etc. Presentation skills, very, 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 very key, Then another area that I think we can do is actually what we call tech sales. It's tech sales. So what do I mean by that? Is basically it's a sales job, but the kind of sales job where you are very, 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 very informed about technical information or technical aspect of either the product or the service in order to actually enable you sell. The reason why tech sales is actually very, very lucrative or very, very high paying is because a lot of times, apart from your salary, there is almost like no limit in terms of the bonuses and commissions that you can actually earn. So what do I mean by that? For example, you're working with, let's say let's say you're working with a software producing company. The company actually produces softwares that people can use to automate their business operations or processes. Now, for somebody who's in tech sales, you need to know the ins and outs of that particular software, which means you need to know how to operate it. You need to know, how it's configured, stuff like that. You do not necessarily need to do the configuration, but you need to at least get enough information to be able to convince clients to actually buy this product, and then that way you guys can actually make sales. So the idea here is this: the potential for earning is almost limitless. So if you are somebody who's good in marketing, which means you can convince people to actually buy, this is a very, very high-end skill that people take for granted. I have seen too many examples. I've worked in tech sales a little bit as well, so I know how this works. The bonus potential is almost limitless. It's second to none. And as a matter of fact, in every business in the world, you can quote me anywhere. It doesn't matter how innovative, how inventive your product or your software is. If you do not have a good salesman, you do not have a business. Because your software is just going to be on the shelf. Your product is just going to be on the shelf. Your service is just going to be there. So every business needs a salesman. And that person can be you, especially if you know that you got some experience. So don't take this for granted. The only difference is this. Again, you need to learn Microsoft Excel, because you would need to gather information, you need to do analysis of this information. So it really doesn't matter what area you want to go into. It is always important to have Microsoft Excel as the bare minimum, because only with Microsoft Excel, you already have a skill that can give you a job, especially if you're thinking to relocate from Africa, whether to Europe or to America. So in sum, because the video is a little bit over 30 minutes now, I might do a part 2 for this, because there are still other areas that I would like to share with you, but I don't want to make this video too long. So Microsoft Excel, no brainer. It can give you access to do like administrative assistant, executive assistant, different kind of analyst job, and then of course data analysis. As a matter of fact, most jobs require only Microsoft Excel for their data analysis, like day to day. I can tell you this, even if sometimes they put Excel and the other complex stuff, when you get into the job, you realize that only Microsoft Excel is needed to do your day-to-day job. So you can do different kinds of analyst jobs just with Microsoft Excel. Then if you want to take it a little bit further, you can learn SQL and then any of the BI tools, whether it's Tableau, whether it's Power BI. Then another skill that I told you is very, very important: negotiation skills, soft skills like negotiation skills, conflict resolution skills, and then presentation skills. Very, very key. Then another area you can go into is digital marketing, and I told you it's very broad, so you have a better chance specializing. I specialize in PPC, which is called paid search, using tools like Google, and also recently I'm branching out into an area called programmatic advertising. I can talk about that in a different video, but the good thing is, from that free course, I was able to land the job, and then now I have hands-on experience, in the job. So this is something that is very key. When you have hands-on experience, then it actually boosts the credibility of your profile to actually fit into a job. So at every opportunity you get, try to get the hands-on experience, because remember, you're not from a technical background or from a science background, so it is the practical experience that is actually going to give you that leverage, over people who, for example, they just have degrees, they don't have any practical experience. Then, as I told you, tech sales. If you know you are good with your mouth, you can do a lot of convincing, you should consider a career in tech sales. If you check online, you can find many resources, on how to hone these marketing skills or sales skills that you have, to actually channel it into the field of tech. So that's me done for this session. I don't want this video to be a very long one. I think it's over 30 minutes at the moment. Please put your comments below if there is something you think I missed. I think there will be a part 2 for this particular session, because I think there's still a lot to actually say. But for now, I hope this has given you a little bit of an idea, the absolute skills you actually need to learn. And of course, I wish you well in your endeavor to, jackpot or to relocate from Africa. But please try to make sure that you have these in-demand skills, at least in order for you to be a little bit comfortable in terms of the salary scale when you make this relocation. And if you're already in the diaspora and you are doubting if you can transition, yes, you can. As I told you, tech is not only for people from science and technical background. Use me as an example, pure humanities and arts. Today, I can say, yes, I'm in tech, but obviously I'm not in the technical aspect of tech. What I mean by that is coding, front-end, back-end, DevOps, QA automation, machine learning, stuff like that. Because I know that it's going to take me a longer time to actually land a job and then have the practical experience. So that's me done. I wish you guys the very best, and please do like and subscribe, because it's going to help YouTube show this video to other people. I hope you've learned something from this particular episode, and yes, so I'll see you on the very next one. Thank you. Peace.